Okay, hello and welcome to a brief video here about line of reasoning within the AP Lang class and in AP Lang style essays in the FRQs. I'm going to be talking about what line of reasoning is, how to make some clear moves to help you develop your line of reasoning, and I'm going to be using a synthesis essay body paragraph for this. I think this is a challenging part of getting that third and fourth point in row B, is establishing a clear line of reasoning. And it may sound really subjective and woo-woo, but it's not. It's concrete. So let me show you some examples. Trying to make myself a little smaller here. Oh, I can't. Okay, so I want to show you first a paragraph that does not have strong line of reasoning. This is a lot like a lot of the paragraphs that I see, and I will move my face around as I read through this. So here's my thesis. For background, this is the library synthesis prompt. So it's about what role should libraries play in the future. This is one that's in the course and exam description. So I'm sure a lot of teachers are using this and providing this to students for practice. So my thesis statement is, despite changing technology and reduced funding, in the future, libraries should be both physical spaces with physical resources, in addition to digital spaces with digital resources. Okay, there's my argument. So here is my first body paragraph. So just based on what you see in my thesis statement, you might guess that my first body paragraph is going to be physical spaces with physical resources, and you would be correct. So let me move my face up here now. Okay, according to the Pew Research Center, 81% of Americans over 16 who have read books report using those books to read with a child. Source D. As many who have interacted with children know, books are more appealing and interesting to a child. Reading physical books as an adult is an important and common experience in childhood. Furthermore, adults also use libraries extensively. In Media Shift, Shanks states that, quote, for 22% of library computer users, age 14 and older, the library was their only source of access to computers and the internet. Source C. Clearly, libraries are places where adults are using the resources. So I have two pieces of evidence from two different sources. They are cited correctly. I think they are well-chosen evidence for my point about the value of physical spaces for libraries, not just digital. But there is not a clear line of reasoning. There's not a clear line of reasoning here. I don't even know, if I was reading this, I would say I'm a little bit unclear. What's your point here? What are you trying to prove? I have to dig and read between the lines. Let me show you another paragraph now that has clear line of reasoning, and I've highlighted and color-coded some things. Okay. I'm going to have to make my face disappear, so you don't get to look at this anymore. Okay. So let's take a look here. Same thesis statement. Despite changing technology and reduced funding, in the future, libraries should be both physical spaces with physical resources in addition to digital spaces with digital resources. So take a look here. Anything in black already existed in this paragraph, and anything that has a color or a highlight was added, although some of the highlights were there, and I just highlighted a word that was there. If it's black and highlighted, it was already there. If it's red and highlighted or blue and highlighted, I added it. So let's look first at this sentence in blue. One important aspect of libraries that should continue into the future is their physical presence, both as buildings that hold book collections, but also as physical spaces with computers. Okay, this is what's called a topic sentence. This is a topic sentence. A topic sentence is exactly what it sounds like. It is the topic of the paragraph. You need to state what is coming in this paragraph. I cannot say this enough. I can't read your mind. I don't know what the paragraph is about unless you give me a preview. You have to start your paragraph by taking your thesis statement, looking at which of the points you are focusing on in this paragraph, deleting everything else, and possibly rewriting it in different words. But honestly, you could have taken, despite changing technology, you could have just taken that and deleted the digital spaces, digital resources part, and the reduced funding. Yeah, that's not going to come up in this paragraph. So I'm going to delete those. So I need a sentence that states the argument, the point, the claim, the miniature thesis statement of this paragraph. What's the point of this paragraph? Yes? Before you start telling me anything, you have to tell me what the point is. So the point is, libraries should continue in the future as physical spaces with book collections and computers. Okay, physical spaces. This is the point I'm focusing on right here. I'm circling it with my mouse. Okay. Now, we're going to come back to why these words are yellow in a second. Next, this was here before, according to the Pew Research Center. Now I can give my context and my evidence because I've told you what this evidence is proving. And then I have my same first sentence. Many people who've interacted with children, physical books are more appealing, common experience. Here's what I've added in red. Therefore, I love words like therefore. A physical library is important as it can serve as a place to house a large collection of print books that support children's education. Look back at my thesis statement. My line of reasoning is physical libraries are good and needed. I actually went back at the end of this essay and added a little bit to my thesis statement about allowing people to thrive and be productive and successful. But that's not the point I'm making right now. So I added this sentence. Then I continue, not only that, but children who are strong readers become successful and productive citizens as adults. So I'm further justifying why we need digital spaces, not just that we need them, but why we need them. So first of all, why physical books are important and why we need them, why a physical book is important for the broader picture. You've got to go bigger in your argument, not just we should have physical libraries. Why? To what purpose? Okay. Then I have my transition word, furthermore. Then I give a little bit more context before I give my next evidence. If you've been taught ace it, see it, because you're my student or you're out in the world and you've learned that, here's the T, here's the C, here's the E. Now, before I had said clearly libraries are places where adults are using resources. Okay. Look what I added. Clearly, libraries are not just useful physical spaces for children checking out books to be read by an adult, but also places where adults are using these tangible resources. A library building is therefore justified. So now I've not just given you one sentence in black, but why? Why physical libraries for adults? Explain what your evidence shows like you're talking to someone who doesn't understand why you've given that evidence. I'm not in your head. I don't know why you chose that evidence. I can make some leaps, but I want to know your reasons, your reasoning. Make the reasons in your head completely obvious to the reader. A library building is therefore justified in the future because not just children, but adults are using the physical resources. In this case, computers. One more sentence. Why are physical computers important? Access to a computer allows adults to further their education, pursue opportunities and resources related to their livelihoods. Oops, I need an and right here. I'll fix that later. So I need to tell you, I've given you a piece of evidence that 22% of library computer users, that's their only computer. And so what? Why have you included that evidence? What does that prove? You might be like, duh, bro, it totally is clear that shows that physical computers are important because nearly 25% of people don't have a computer at home. It's not obvious. Explain your reasoning. Take your reasoning out of your brain and put it on the page with these two red sentences here that I've used. And then look in blue, concluding sentence. The sibling to the topic sentence is the concluding sentence. And the concluding sentence is to summarize and restate what you've already proved. And you might be thinking, why would I need to say it again? I've said it so many times. I'm not in your head. I've been reading your evidence. I've been looking at all your reasoning. I forget, what was the point of this paragraph? I need a reminder of what you have proved to me. You don't let me walk away from this paragraph without full clarity of what I have just been convinced of. Here's my sentence. Because of the value and usage of physical library resources, in the future, we should continue to have brick and mortar public libraries in communities across the U.S. in order to support a thriving citizenry. You can look at your topic sentence and put it in new words. That's not the end of the world, right? But restate it. Okay, let me talk now about, so I've added sentences. I've added a topic sentence. I've added a couple of sentences after my evidence where I very obviously explain what that evidence proves to me and what reasons I have for giving that evidence and how that proves my point. And I've added a concluding sentence. Now I want you to look at these yellow words. Look at these yellow words. Future, physical, 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 buildings, physical, tangible, physical, physical, in the future, physical. Look back at my thesis statement. Despite changing technology and reduced funding, in the future, future. Where is the other future? Future. Libraries should be both physical spaces with physical resources. Now, I've switched to the word tangible. I might even have some other ones that I've used. I try to not use it too repetitively, but look how many times I've said the word physical. That is not bad. Sometimes students are like, I can't say that word more than once. No, yes, you can. I don't know if you're involved in mock trial or if you could ever watch a lawyer in the real world or even on a TV show. A lawyer who is trying to defend a defendant and say they are not guilty is going to say the words innocent and not guilty over and over and over and over, because those key words are the thing they want their jury or the judge to not forget. You are trying to convince. You need to hit them with these ideas over and over until you beat them into submission. No, I'm kidding. It's a convincing tool. You repeat it and repeat it and repeat it. So I want you to think about the topic sentence and the thesis. What are your key words for this paragraph? And those should come up over and over and over again. Those are my reasons. That's my reasoning. My reasoning is physical spaces. Now, what I changed eventually was I added something to my thesis about how libraries help us to live better lives. And so I could also have been highlighting some of the words like thriving citizenry, productive and successful. Those kinds of words are also an echo of my thesis statement. So to recap, if I can switch to my next slide, how to establish and keep the line of reasoning clear. First of all, topic sentences. Every paragraph needs a mini thesis. It should clearly state the point, claim, argument that you will prove in this paragraph. It should feel like a shorter version of your thesis statement. It should echo the language of your thesis statement. It should be a statement of what the point of this paragraph is. Next, keywords all throughout your paragraph. You are repeating synonyms or the actual keywords in your topic sentence and thesis statement. Then your concluding sentence. It is the same as your topic sentence, but it's at the end and it summarizes the point. Yes, repeat what you argued. Yes, do it again. I know you've done it. Do it again. Do it again. Relentless. You need to be relentless. Okay. The last thing I want to point out is what I've highlighted in blue, which is sort of about line of reasoning, but it's more about the sources talking to each other. So this is a bit of a side quest. One thing that they're looking for in the synthesis essay is that your sources are talking to each other. They are not just bombs being dropped in isolation with no connection. They are being linked. And this doesn't require sentence after sentence after sentence. It's small keyword markers. Yes? So for example, what I've done in blue here, my first quote was about kids reading physical books. My second quote is about adults using computers. So what I'm doing here is I am providing a linking phrase. Not just physical spaces for children, that's my first evidence, checking out books to be read by an adult, but also places where adults are using these tangible resources. So we have children linking to adults. So phrases like not only this, but this, in addition to this, also this, while this says this shows this. Those are all sentences and phrases that provide that link. And this is a very small move that significantly improves the line of reasoning and the way that the sources are talking to each other. Yes? So I want you to think about a bridge between your two pieces of evidence. It could be built in the transition between the two, but I like to do it in the interpretation, analysis, discussion, commentary of the second quote. So when you are talking about your second quote, I want you to link back to your first quote, point out how they relate, how they are different, how they contradict, how they speak to each other. How do they speak to each other? That should be early on or somewhere in your second interpretation of your second quote, your second piece of evidence. Okay, I hope this was helpful. I hope that you can really think specifically about establishing and creating a line of reasoning throughout your body paragraphs using these tips. Have a great day.